Char Margolis, Char Communications Incorporated, and CharVision LLC do not endorse or offer for any purpose but entertainment the views of any guest or other expert on CharVision or UBN.
I knew things before they happened from the time I was a child. At the age of 8, I saw a spirit at the foot of my bed and didn't know what it was. And in my 20s, I finally realized I had a special ability that could help others. I have learned that love never dies. There is a spirit world that can communicate with us, and we all have the gift of intuition. Join me, and together we will explore the possibilities of the unknown from beyond and more. This is CharVision. Who listening here really takes time out when you pray to be thankful, to have gratitude for everything that you have, to look at your cup half full, not half empty? Well, I try to make a practice of that. In fact, I try to just light gratitude candles. And whenever I've traveled around the world, I've always learned to say thank you. Gracias, gracias, merci beaucoup. Dank u wel, that's Dutch. And Dankeschön. And I mean, there's, how many, wherever you go, you want to be thankful and you want to show appreciation. So this show I'm dedicating to change your attitude to gratitude. And we have an expert in gratitude today with us. Her name is Elizabeth Baker, and she's an award-winning writer and filmmaker, and she wrote this beautiful book called Gifts of Gratitude. And she is right here with us. She's calling on Skype. Elizabeth, are you there?
I am. Can you see me?
Thank you so much for being here.
I am thrilled to be here. I'm such a fan of yours, and I love Thanksgiving, and I'm so honored to be part of your Thanksgiving show.
Yeah, well, I'm honored that you're here with us too. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born in Texas, and I had a very tough time there because of racism. And I left there relatively early and went to New York and got wonderfully lucky. I didn't understand what happens when you sit and daydream or visualize. And so I visualized myself on the Broadway stage, and I had a whole 3 years there of a wonderful career. And then I realized that even if I became a big star, that it wasn't going to fill the place inside of me that I really was longing to know myself, really. And so I left New York, went to Germany, got married to a wonderful American man there, had 2 sons, stayed home, raised them, and all of a sudden I was by that time divorced and alone, and thought, what do I want to do now that the boys have gone to college?
Right.
And I decided that I wanted to make movies. So it took me 3 years to get hired on a little film. I learned how to make films by making films. And I love creativity. I love I love following spirit. And as a little girl, I loved optical illusions. And Char, I believe that the life we're living right now is an optical illusion, and that if we get on the other side and see the real picture of gratitude for everything we have, of spiritual beings having human experiences.
So, Elizabeth,
how did you
get started in doing this work about gratitude?
The very first chapter of the book tells how I went to the beach one day, was overwhelmed with gratitude. It was the first day of summer in San Francisco, was overcome with gratitude, had an epiphany, and said a little prayer, "Dear Lord, if I die today, I've had it all." And 45 minutes later was in the back of a convertible with no seat belts, with my 3-year-old son and my husband, and the person driving drove off of a huge cliff,
Oh,
and the car fell 500 feet.
whoa.
And if it hadn't been caught in what I call God's mitt of a rock and a tree, it would have fallen even further, 3 times further down to Stinson Beach. And we all lived, and we all were fine. I got a scar on my forehead that was right on my frown line so that no one could even tell. And my son, 3-year-old Eric, didn't get a scratch on him. And that's when I learned about gratitude.
Okay, so it was like divine intervention of protecting you. Now,
Totally.
and so tell us, because you talk about how gratitude can shift someone's entire consciousness and DNA. How does that work?
I believe we're all shifting right now from kind of a third dimension life and to up to a fifth dimension life. And gratitude is something that can help you so much, because if you begin to realize, I think the first step to changing your entire life is realizing that everything that happens is something to be grateful for. People tend to be grateful when they have something good happen to them, but it's when something bad or good, it's just an attitude that says, thank you for this lesson today.
Right.
Thank you for helping me. Thank you for showing me what you've shown me today with this that is bad, like going off a cliff, or this that is good. And realizing, the moment you realize that everything is tailor-made for you,
Right,
and
but
will help you in the long run.
You know, I always say life is our school and we're here to learn lessons, and we have free will and we have choice. So it's tailor-made, but also we create a lot of it.
I think we create all of it, frankly.
Okay,
Every
and you don't think
thing
anything's
that happens
predestined?
by what we are thinking or feeling inside.
Okay, well, I agree with you, but I do really feel that some things in life are predestined.
Well, don't you think everything is predestined? I think
No, I
everything
think we
is.
create a lot of our destiny by the choices we make, and life is our school, and we're here to learn lessons, and that's how we learn our lessons.
But the overall picture, the big picture, is that all of that is predestined. And that is what free choice is. What we decide we're going to concentrate on is what we magnetically draw to us.
Well, yes, but one thought in one decision can change the path of that.
That's right.
So, okay, so maybe we think the same way, we're just explaining it differently.
I think it's just semantics. Yeah, I think we think exactly the same way. And get this, I went to a movie in Hollywood when I was living in LA. A paranormal was there. He gave his little thing. He walked out. When I could have sat and watched that bad movie, or I did what I did. I
Right.
got up and walked out. He was standing by himself 45 minutes later over in the shadows.
Why do you think gratitude sometimes gets a bad rap in our society?
Because people don't I think people don't understand it. I think it's an optical illusion. I don't think that people understand what life is. They think it's success, they think it's gadgets, they think it's this, they think it's that. How much more can you have than your neighbor? Shoot somebody on the freeway if you're in a road rage.
Mm-hmm.
It's none of those things. It's like kindergarten, I think. Maybe it's higher than kindergarten, but the way human beings behave makes me think that maybe it's really kindergarten. And we're here to learn how to love each other. We're here to learn
Because
gratitude. We're here to learn,
and we're here
that
to learn
everything
to,
that happens to
right,
us
and to
is
appreciate,
of our own making.
and to appreciate each other.
And to really appreciate each other,
Because,
which
you know,
reminds me to tell you
agree.
that I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You know, I agree with you because I just saw something online and I'm going to paraphrase it. Oh, I think Julia Roberts said something on Facebook. Something about it's not about your fame, it's not about how wealthy you are. Everybody's going to end up in the same size box.
She should know.
Well, you know, it really is a huge lesson. It's wonderful that you're teaching this and that you've spent your life teaching this. And it's a holiday, or we just had our holiday yesterday of celebrating gratitude. And so, but what do you feel really about thanks?
About thanks?
Yeah, about what do you really feel is if you could say in one line what we should be thankful for, what would that be?
Well, a line came out yesterday because I had an extraordinary experience yesterday, and the first thing I thought of was God bless God.
God bless God.
You know,
because
I am so grateful to be here. I am so grateful for what I've learned in my life. I mean, I get very emotional about it because and that's what the book is really about. What it's really about is showing a lot of different examples of what can happen when you are living and getting stronger. I certainly, I didn't start out knowing what I know now.
Well, did you okay, so did you take things for granted at one time?
I don't think I ever took things for granted.
Or feel entitled?
Did you lost my dad when I was only 5 years old.
Oh.
I got kicked in the head by a horse.
Oh.
And had a real experience, a near-death experience when I was only 3 years old. I don't think I've ever.
Do you remember what you saw when you were pronounced dead?
No, I don't remember. What I remember is the sirens. I remember the horse rubbing me off on a tree, and I was tied onto the horse so I couldn't fall off. So I fell over its rump and spooked it, and it started running away. And I remember the sirens, the sound of sirens.
Whoa.
That's all I remember. But I was never the same. I couldn't talk for a year. I had a head injury.
Wow, no wonder you're thankful.
Yeah, it took me it took me years and years and years. My poor mom wouldn't admit what happened. I was in my 30s before I remembered it. I've had my share of fun, and I know I can. If you were going to create a writer and a storyteller and someone to make films, what would you do? Take away her ability to talk when she's very young, have her not be able to pronounce words correctly so that people laughed at everything she said. I could have gone under and become a victim.
Right.
I decided to go over and really get communication down.
You know, Elizabeth, you just said something very profound. And it's so true. Some people take lemons and make lemonade. That's what you do. Some people take lemons and become sour. And for you to make that statement that you could have been a victim, but you decided not to, I respect you for that. Because, it's like there's always a flip side. There's always a positive way to go. And you found it.
That's what the whole secret of gratitude is. You asked me to put it in one sentence. I think you just did a good job of that.
Oh,
that's
good.
what gratitude is. When you have gratitude, you don't make lemons into bitterness. You don't, you don't grieve forever. You absolutely realize that everything that happens is for a reason, and you have free will and free choice in how you respond to it.
Right. So we just had our Thanksgiving as we were talking about, and what do you think this holiday really should be about? Like, how do you, like, we have a whole year till the next Thanksgiving. What is it that we can be doing on our Thanksgiving to really show thanks, to really be aware of what it's about?
Well, I was thrilled to see many American stores closing this Thanksgiving, which means that
Right.
all of the workers in them are home with their families. I think that one of the horrific things that have been decaying away the American life is that families almost don't exist anymore. They don't sit down at tables together. They don't pass the peas. We do that at Thanksgiving. And it's so important that we stop, You know, we're rushing around trying to make more money, trying to do more things.
Right.
It's so important that we stop and that we are really grateful. We can't really prove what it is that has created all of this. We don't really know. People call it different names. People kill each other because they can't convince the other party of what name to call it. It doesn't matter. The truth is that we are a teeny tiny little speck in a
Yeah.
huge universe.
We are.
And somehow we are alive. As small as we are alive. We get to interact. We get to love. That's what Thanksgiving is about for me.
So it's not about overeating, which I did last night, which I'm not such a teeny tiny speck. I'm a little bit bigger than that right now.
That's a wonderful statement. No, it's not about overeating. It's not about having too much food. Does your neighbor have enough food? How can we help each other? You've heard that wonderful. I think this is heaven, Char. I think this is heaven, and that we can make it hell if we want to. Does your
Right.
neighbor have enough food? Do the children need a ride to school the next day? What's going on that you can help with, that you can give to others? When you give to others, you have a feeling of plentiful that nothing else gives you that feeling. You know,
Right.
share, have 5 cents, share two of them with some kid that needs penny candy, if there's such a thing exists anymore. But when we give to others, we begin to realize how precious our own lives are.
I, I travel a lot, and I'm in Los Angeles a lot. And the one thing that I do notice so much are the homeless people.
Oh my. And there was a wonderful statement on Facebook a couple of days ago that said homelessness is not the problem, it's the symptom of the problem. You know, we have enough in this country. We have plenty. We have so much more. You travel,
Yep.
you know that we have, no matter how poor you are in America, we have so much more than people all around the
And
world.
there's some crazy percentage of how much food Americans throw out every year. Where there's all these other people who are starving. I mean, kids go to bed hungry. Something's off balance. It's not right. It's not right. How do we fix that?
Well, I think we fix it by going from the third dimension of consciousness to the fifth dimension and putting war behind us. If we put war behind us and didn't spend all of the money on weapons
Right?
and war, we would
Right.
have so much money. Everybody in the world would have enough.
Well, it's
It's
interesting you say that, because last week I was running into Bed Bath & Beyond. I had to get something and I had to get home. And there was a war veteran. And he was saying, do you have $2? I want to get a bucket of chicken. And so I had 50 cents in my hand and I gave it to him. And I didn't have any other change on me. And I went into Bed Bath & Beyond and I got all my stuff and I was in this hurry and I went, God, the guy just wants a bucket of chicken. I gave him $1.50, but they say, well, don't give homeless people money because they're going to buy drugs with it. But I honestly could see this man was hungry.
Well, the other part is, what difference does it make? Give it to them anyway.
Right.
Your job is to give it. Your job is, then they have free will.
Right.
Do
Right.
they want to go and
that's a really
buy
good
a bucket of chicken, or do they want to die of a drug overdose?
Right.
That's their choice, but your job is to give them the money.
And I know a lot of our CharVision people, all my friends do that. That they're so giving and so caring, and it's just so heartbreaking because I believe that when we die or when we cross over to the other side, that we judge ourselves in God's eyes. So, that homeless person maybe is being put in our path for a reason, to test us. Maybe that's Jesus Christ reincarnate. Maybe that's Gandhi reincarnate. I mean, we don't really know, but it's the gesture of giving and giving to others. And the one thing that I find, Elizabeth, is that the most important way to give is to do it unconditionally.
Exactly.
Not because you're expecting anything back. And I've got some friends who well, if you're not doing this and I'm not giving you this, and I'm going, well, you know what? I don't want to be your friend anymore.
Or I don't want you to give me anything.
Yeah, I don't exactly. But when we give because we want to give, and I think that's a real big lesson for everybody to practice, because he who expects nothing shall not be disappointed. You give because you want to share. And you want to rejoice in what you have.
And the gift you get from that is that all of a sudden, if you have enough to give away $1.50 or $150, you are not poor anymore in your own eyes. So the real gift comes to you.
But also, maybe giving is somebody who needs, for you to listen to them. Maybe they're having a problem, and you take time out of your day, or there's a stray animal on the street, and you take time to save that animal and take it to the shelter so it has something to eat. I mean, there's so many people who are just so busy. And back to the Thanksgiving table that you were talking about, I think because you were saying people need to communicate and enjoy the moment of conversations together, I think we need to take away our telephones and all our smartphones, and at least for 5 hours or 4 hours, take time to just be together. It's crazy because of smartphones and internet and emailing and texting and all the other Facebook and Twitter. People don't stop. People don't stop working. People who had one job before now have 4 jobs because we never stop. We wake up in the middle of the night. I'm guilty of it. I'll send an email to my office.
Well, it's because we have forgotten how small we are. See, we've created these fancy things. Mm-hmm. The phone and the pad and the emails and internet and all. We have created all of that, and we think that because we are so big and so important. But that's the optical illusion.
Right.
It's shock when you realize that we have all these gadgets, but we don't know how to live on planet Earth. We aren't respectful to all the other life connections. I think all of the other life that is on this planet is smarter than human beings right now.
Like the animals. I have a little dog in my lap. I know you can't see him, but the one thing he always teaches me is to love unconditionally.
That's right.
And animals do that. The lessons I hear from you is to be humble.
I think that's the only hope that we have, because when we're humble, if your cup, remember that story? If your cup is full, nothing can pour into it.
Right.
But if you have a cup that, and I think that's what humility is, not thinking that you know anything. I've begun to understand that I know nothing. All I have is that I can share what I've done. It'll either people will like it and they'll try it, or they won't, and it doesn't matter. That's all I really have to give.
You know, I know that there's some people out there who think this is humble mumble. You know, they don't really understand the magnitude of the spirit and the soul and how healing this really is to practice.
Well, I think that those people should go look at the redwoods.
Yeah.
They should go look at the redwood trees in California.
Those are huge and gorgeous.
They should go look at whales,
Right.
you know, swimming in the water. So much. They should go look. I did exercises. There's wonderful chapters of how I went down and did exercises and became sisters with the ocean, so that I didn't see it in that way that people had always taught me to see it, a big thing of water. I saw it as a sister giving me gifts, and I gave her gifts every day, and I did tensegrity in the ocean. And you begin to understand how small you are, and you begin to get unexpected supernatural type of gifts that just blow your mind with the beauty of them.
Because you've taken the time to listen and to feel it and to accept it. That's where the real gifts in life are.
Well, I am hoping that everyone who's out there listening to us doesn't have to get kicked in the head by a horse in order to begin to really get. I mean, read my book instead. It's easier.
I want everybody to get this book. It's called Gifts of Gratitude. It's a great holiday gift. It's just a great gift any time of year. And Elizabeth, I so appreciate you being on with us. How can people reach you?
They can email me at goodfilms11@gmail.com.
Okay,
I have two websites.
goodfilms11@gmail.com. Do we have that at the bottom of the screen? Okay, good. Okay, what are your websites?
11@gmail.com. I have two websites. One is weknownotwhatwedo.net. One is giftsofgratitude.net. They can reach me through those websites. I'm on Facebook, Elizabeth Galen Baker. I'm pretty easy to reach, actually.
Well, you really are an inspiration to all of us. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your wisdom, and I feel that we all have something to take home with us. That if our cup is all the way filled, you can't put any more in it. It overfloweth.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And as it begins to really overflow in your life, my advice is just keep giving that input to others. And because we're all connected, it's terribly, how you're feeling today is incredibly important to that tree, to that squirrel. I know I sound like a mad lady. I don't know if you have time for one more very quick story, but I left a suitcase on a shuttle, took the wrong suitcase, didn't know it till I got to security. Instead of getting home in an hour and a half or 2 hours, took me 12 hours to get home, had to get my suitcase back, had to get rerouted to Arizona, and finally got on a plane and sat down next to a man who was right in the center of that Keystone rally and all of the work that was being done in Nebraska. I was making a film about climate change and determining that what really needs to change is human beings and how we live on the planet. I got invited to come there, and I made the film. You know, it takes 2 years to make a film. I made the film always believing that Obama was going to reject that pipeline, even when everybody around me laughed.
And he did.
And he did
And
yesterday.
he did. Well,
And my film has the story of how all of that happened because I had the courage to listen to Spirit and do what I was told. I was so happy yesterday. I was crying with joy. It's really a Thanksgiving for me.
That's amazing. I so appreciate you being here today. We all at CharVision wish you a happy, healthy New Year, and thank you for helping the show help all of us change our attitude to gratitude.
Well, I send you my love, Char. I think you're wonderful. I think you're doing a great job. I'm so proud to have met you all those years ago.
Thank you. It's truly my pleasure. Be well.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Okay, everybody, don't go away. We've got somebody very special coming up. Hey, everybody. You probably think I only do individual readings, but sometimes I get a message for everybody. And I wrote a poem that was channeled through me, and I'd like to read it to you. It's called Until We Meet Again by Char Margolis, a message from heaven. My work is done, it's time to leave. Know that I am also missing you as you grieve. I completed my karma on the earth, and now it is time for my rebirth. I'm flying with eagles and dancing on stars. Please know that I haven't gone far. The love we have will carry us through until the day I am again with you. What an amazing journey this passing over can be. I am in good company. I know you hurt, but please trust me. Our journey together is for eternity. So until the day our souls reunite, stay peaceful and well, and use your spirit sight. I will bring you signs from up above, a butterfly, a bird, my sign of love. Don't worry about me. I'm in good hands. Stay strong, stay positive, and continue to pray. When it is your natural day to graduate from the earth, look for me in the bright white light. We have completed our purpose, and all will be right. This is handmade. It's signed by me. It's an affordable gift for any occasion. Just go to char.net and click on store. Thank you. Welcome back to my Change Your Attitude to Gratitude show. I'm very, very excited because we've got a rock star in the house. And his name is Lanny Cordola. And I'm sure, I looked at him and I said, you know what? You look familiar. I must have been in like some concert and screamed at you sometime in my day. So anyway, you've been on you've worked with amazing groups. Can you tell, like the Beach Boys, and tell us all the groups you've worked with, because I'm excited.
Well, I've worked with people like Gene Simmons and Slash, and I was in a group called House of Lords, which was on Gene Simmons' label in the 80s. Let's see, we just did my friend Donovan's wedding with Scott Weiland and Sebastian Bach and Juliette Lewis and Gina Gershon, and yeah.
That's amazing. and so you travel a lot.
I've toured with Nancy Sinatra, which was pretty cool.
have.
I got to play Boots Are Made for Walking from Las Vegas to Istanbul.
That's amazing.
So that was pretty fun.
That's amazing. And so I know that you've taken all your expertise, and I can tell you that you have appreciation for your world and your life, because you've done some amazing things with MLK. Mm-hmm. Tell us what that is.
The MLK stands for the Miraculous Love Kids.
And what does that mean?
Which was formed last year after I went to Kabul, Afghanistan, and I met a family who had lost 2 little girls to a suicide bombing. And their names were Parwana and Khorshid. And when I had heard about this, I felt the same way. and I wanted to just do something. And I didn't know what that something was, so I went there to meet the family, and they were very happy to meet someone that cared about them. And we put together a fundraiser, and we were able to move them out of this place they were living in, which had no running water, no electricity, no kitchen, no bathroom.
Oh.
Up the top of this hill in the middle of nowhere, just surrounded by rubble and dirt, which for me kind of became this little hill of truth, to really kind of go up there and see how most humanity lives, and then to see them transform by moving from this place into a nice place, and where all their brothers and sisters are going to school, and their friends are going to school, and then the idea just came, well, let's keep expanding this. Let's turn this horrific tragedy and loss into something hopeful, and something that, you know, transcends these dark ways that some of our fellow brethren decide to go down, and hence Miraculous Love Kids.
And who did you start this with?
Well, I guess it was just on my own, you know. It was just,
You did this all by your little self?
well, I mean, the initial idea, because there's not a lot of us that are going to pop on over to Kabul, Afghanistan. So
And what kind of fundraising do you do?
we do live events, and we have a GoFundMe page right now. And then we're, getting our 501c3 nonprofit status together, because we could continue it like this on a grassroots level with this small group, but there's so many. I mean, a place like Kabul is so deprived. Wherever you go, there's just deprivation. It's the most landmine country in the world, so wherever you see, there's people with missing limbs. So many of them now are waking up to wanting their children to get educated. There's just not enough places for them to do that. So I just met a man at the airport as I'm getting ready to get on my airplane, and he saw me with the girls that we're working with. And he asked them, like, what are you doing with this man? And they said, well, he's helping us go to school. And he started crying. And he said, could he please help my daughter go to school? And we said, yeah, we got his number. And when I go back, we're going to go meet with him. And I thanked him. I said, thank you for letting your daughter go to school, because not a lot of men allow that over there. So,
you could have just hung out with your rock star friends and live the good life, and you've taken the blessings that you had in your life, and you've turned them around. He's making me cry.
well,
You're so dear.
Thank you. Really.
I mean, not many people would do what you're doing.
I think more people would if they just had the opportunity. I don't see it as that unique. And as far as my rock star friends, well, I'm roping them in. So.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
If I can donate a reading, if I can do anything for you,
Oh, thank you.
If you want to put on an event, whatever it is, whatever I can do to help you, I would be happy to help you.
Wow. Well, that's a big blessing, and I'll be.
You can knock on my door.
I'll be knocking on your door.
Yeah, you can get me through Gina.
Yes. Thank you.
Gina.
Gina's amazing.
Our she's my manager. I don't know how you know Gina, but.
Through our mutual friend Donovan Leach. Yeah.
Oh, Donovan.
Donovan is another magical, mystical man.
And what? Can you tell us like some of the miracles that you've seen happen from what you've done?
I see every one of these kids as a miracle, because you meet them and they still have like this hope and joy, and then you give them the opportunity, and now they're going to school 48 hours a week, and that's not counting their homework and their Friday music lessons. That when I'm not there, I found a really great teacher.
And what kind of what are they playing?
They're learning guitar. We have a project under our Miraculous Love Kid banner called Girl with a Guitar. And the idea is to use the guitar as an instrument for them to, feel like they're something beyond what they were born into.
Okay, now I understand that the women have not been given opportunities. Like the women are not allowed to play music, and the women are not allowed to enjoy that. Tell us about this and how you've changed that.
Well, the women most of them are, basically born into prisons. You know, whether it's physical, why we're having to wear the complete burqa, or mental prisons because they're illiterate, they're not allowed to be educated. It's a very tribal and a very patriarchal, even less so about the religion, but more about the just entrenched tribal patriarchal beliefs. But I just found, I mean, I haven't met very much resistance so far. And of course, we know that there's elements out there that do resist it, and they do it in a very extreme way. So I try to do this, not just, you know, running around, promoting it openly in Kabul, because it would be dangerous for the kids. So it's really kind of a little underground movement. We have a little secret, not secret, but places where they can go that are safe.
And you're sure they're safe?
Well, as sure as you can be.
Right.
I mean, you never fully know. I just tend to think that they've got bigger things on their mind right now.
Right.
But, you know, right now it seems like the spirit is moving in that direction. And we never try to force it. It's always an offering. And pretty much when you ask one of these girls if they want to learn guitar before you even finish guitar, they say yes. And,
have you found any like proteges or?
I have.
Like you have?
I have. We have a young woman. Her name is Ramika Kabiri.
Yes.
And she's 20 years old. She goes to the university.
I'm getting goosebumps. So I don't know what this means, but are you going to be doing a album with her or a record? Or?
Yeah.
I have goosebumps about
Yes.
this, and I have a feeling it's going to do really well.
Well, thank you.
You need to do the right marketing and promotion for it, though.
Yeah.
I just have like this feeling. This needs to go viral. This thing needs to go viral. And then you could maybe, are you going to like make money to help the other kids with it?
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about. For me, you know, I this is a whole other topic, but I feel like I had my time and I abused it. And so I survived it by the miracle of the good graces.
What, you mean like with drugs or what do you mean?
A combination of things.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about it.
Well, I mean, it's just,
Give us one little bad thing you did.
Let's just say excess was just the beginning.
Excess, okay.
Yeah, but it was a combination. It was a spiritual breakdown. I had lost people close to me, and I ended up in Bulgaria, and I pushed the boundaries, and of course, I love Bulgaria. It's a great place to get lost in. But when I came to, that's when I came home. I actually was going to stay there, and if I stayed there, who knows, I might not be here. But I had to come home because my mother was getting married.
Oh.
My mother, who was never going to get married again,
all right.
met this incredible guy.
Oh,
so
my.
I had to come home. And I actually, this is true, the Sunday before a wedding, I went to this restaurant that I used to go and meet my grandmother, who had recently passed away. And I was sitting in my car kind of in a daze, very depressed. And I was listening to this radio station, KPFK, which I had never listened to before. And John Densmore from The Doors was talking about John Coltrane. The great jazz musician.
Right.
And John Coltrane was talking about the power of music to heal the planet if used with the right intention, right frequency, right concentration. And I swear, all of a sudden it was that light. And I said, that's what I got to do now. I got to use music for healing, music for peacemaking, music for spreading goodwill, for learning, for connecting, and all of that. And I didn't know how it was going to go about, but this was actually November 15th, 2006, in the 11 o'clock hour.
You had an epiphany.
I had an epiphany.
You had an epiphany.
I did. It was a very strong epiphany.
It's an amazing feeling when you have an epiphany like that.
Yes.
And it's wonderful that you acknowledged it and you acted on it.
Oh my gosh. Well, so it wasn't until August 2010 that I actually had the opportunity to go to Pakistan, and that's when I, discovered the plight of kids. And
well, music is so healing. I mean, just the word harmony alone, energetically, is healing.
Yeah.
So you met these kids, and that's how you did it in 2010.
It was Ramadan, 2010, Pakistan, the supposed most dangerous place in the world.
It is.
After
terribly dangerous.
Well, you know what? If it's the most dangerous place in the world, we're going to be okay.
I had a bodyguard when I had shows in the Netherlands, and he was a sniper there. Like it's dangerous.
Well,
from what the stories I heard.
Well, there are dangerous elements, I guess, really everywhere. If we, because when I was over there, there was that church killing here in North Carolina.
That's
or
true.
whatever, and
That's true. You never know.
So,
you never know. So tell us.
So I was just planning on going over there initially to meet these great musicians and just do this sort of music peace through music project.
Right.
But when I went to these flood camps, and I met these kids, and in particular, there's this little girl named Beanish, and I'll send you over this little film we put together.
Aww.
She, just her initial laugh, her laughter, it was like another sort of like a next layer of epiphany emerged. And then her little friends there was Beanish and Hosna and Mansoor, and they're
How do
from
you
this.
even remember their names?
Oh, I have to, because they're like my little chums,
Do they hug and kiss you?
Oh, well, that's what they were all saying, I love you, and I said, what? Okay, this is a love revolution.
What language do they speak?
Well, they speak Urdu, but they just knew how to say I love you somehow, by some magical, mystical, miraculous process. And so that's that initial spark with them, and it just stays with you, something like that. So and it was this place called Charsada, which is outside of Islamabad, in between Islamabad and Peshawar, for those who know anything about Pakistan. Quite a dangerous area, yes, but I don't know, I find that if you're really mindful, as careful as you can be, you're moving in and out, you're not trying to make a big to-do. We don't travel with weaponry, so we're trying to go really underground. We got a great group of people. You can go in and try to just do the best that you can do. A lot of times they need food, water, medicines. We bring in guitars and play for them.
How do they bring in fresh water? How does it happen there?
Well, after a flood, it's all bottled water at that time. Their wells were all just, wiped out. Everything was wiped out. And I remember, I was a buddy of mine named Todd Shea, who's still there, an incredible guy. He's got a group called CDRS. He's been there 10 years, and he graciously invited me to come over and sort of opened his world up. So, I asked him, I go, hey, Todd, send me on a mission, I want to. So he sent me with all of these rakes and hoes and wheelbarrows, and this wasn't like fresh stuff from the hardware store. This was like third-hand hose, rakes, and wheelbarrows. And when I get there and I started kind of handing them out, and it was like such a cool feeling because these people were just like so grateful because this was how they're going to build their life again. These are the instruments, these primitive tools, and they insisted they want to kiss your feet to thank you. And I'm like, oh, tell them no, I can't do that. No, and they're like, and I said, well, tell them that if they kiss my feet, I got to kiss their feet. They're like, oh no, that'll really insult them. And I'm like. So anyway, that was kind of a strange experience, but that's
Did they kiss your feet?
They did. That's just how they wanted to thank you.
But it's their custom.
It's their custom.
So we have to respect other people's
You do.
customs.
Although I just felt like, I didn't want this to be like sort of white man savior syndrome. This was just human, that I was in a position to do it, and I felt grateful that they allowed me to do it.
So how can we help you expand your program? All of my friends at CharVision, I'm grateful for everybody that listens, and I see everybody here as my friends and supporters and help me help others. And what can we do to help you?
Well, I'm always open to great ideas.
Okay.
But in terms of initial assistance, we have a GoFundMe page, which you can find on the web at Lanny, Lanny, and the MLKs. And then, come out to our live events that we will be hosting. One with you now coming up.
I definitely will. I definitely would. I love how they call it GoFundMe. Is that
and when someone told me about it, I completely poo-pooed it.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for that GoFundMe page, that family would still be living.
It's a hilarious way to say it, right? GoFundMe.
Yeah, GoFundMe. It's just right there.
Fund you.
Yeah. And I can't sing any more high praises of it. And I was very skeptical.
Right.
But I just feel like I got to do whatever it takes. So if I need to call my friend John Stamos to come out to an event, or if I got to, beg Miss Nancy Sinatra, or my friend Char will now help us. It's a massive situation. So we've got like a little drop. It's a cool drop, but we want to keep expanding it so it becomes a creek, and then it becomes a river, and then it becomes a sea, and then it becomes an ocean, and
Can you get some of the younger musicians involved with this?
Absolutely. In fact,
Do you have them?
we do have concerts, and normally we'll open up with 2 or 3 young bands and young singers, and it's always important to include that.
Do you write music?
I do.
I want to talk to you after this.
Okay.
I have an idea. Okay, well, give us your website again, please.
So basically, right now it's Lanny and the MLKs.
Lanny and the MLKs.
And then Lanny Cordola is my Facebook page, and that's got tons of videos and goodies and information and all that. So between those two, I think people can get a pretty good grasp. And then if anyone has any questions, I'm always available to answer and listen and.
You are a perfect person to be on our attitude for gratitude, change your attitude to gratitude show. Really.
I believe in gratitude, and thank you,
Yeah,
Char.
I appreciate it so much. Well, I wish you a happy new year and a good holiday season.
Thank you. And from myself and the
much
Miraculous Love Kids, we wish you
Thank you.
a happy new year and
Thank you.
happy holidays.
I can't look at you. You make me cry. Thank you. Okay. Oh, it's holding my hand. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you've been as moved as I have, and I hope that you look at everything around you and that you're grateful for it. Thank you. Hey everybody, if you're looking for an affordable gift for somebody you love, it's a healing gift, or if you want to pamper yourself, go to char.net and get my chakra CD. It's called Chakra Therapy.